Welcome, everybody. I'm Matthew Pinsent. It's my pleasure to be hosting today this discussion on a topic that most of us think we should know more about, but maybe we don't. Financial planning and managing our finances today and planning for the future. It's probably on everybody's to-do list. We think we know that we should be doing something. It can be quite technical. It can be a little bit off-putting and scary. So where to start? I had a career in sport. I rode at the Olympics 4 times and winning 4 Olympic gold medals. It was a sort of magical period of my life. And then I had a sort of first retirement at the age of 33. Then family gets in the way, as they always do. We've got 3 growing teenagers now, which is all very exciting and a different stage. But now, as I sort of creep slowly, incredibly into my 50s, I'm starting to think about retirement and what that next chapter of life is going to be about. So today I'm joined by folks who can share their perspective and talk about why this is the perfect time to speak to someone about getting your finances in order for the future. So let's start with some introductions. Alex Smithies, why don't you start with, as Scylla used to say your name and where you're from. Tell us a little bit about your story so far.
Hi, I'm Alex Smithies. I'm an ex-professional footballer. I played for Leicester City, Cardiff City, QPR, and Huddersfield Town. I've been a Lift Sport client for around 15 years. I'm now working as an ambassador for the Lift Sport team to introduce and mentor current players.
Rachael, why don't you go next?
Thank you, Matthew. So I'm Rachael Marsden, working for Macdonald as a senior investment director. I'm very much a northern lady, so head of the Leeds office and co-head of the North. And it's my job really to listen to clients, work in partnership with them and their advisor to try and make sure that we build an investment solution that meets their objectives and helps realise their goals for life and make sure they can have some fun. But one of the issues that we have as an industry is a lot of people don't actually see themselves as investors. So a lot of people will think that you need significant wealth to obtain advice and support as part of that investment journey, where in reality, most people will have an element of savings. They might have an ISA, they might have a pension that they pay into every month via their payroll, and therefore they are actually investors, and it's those individuals that we're here to help.
And third, Dan.
Hi, so I'm Dan Barratt. I'm a chartered financial planner at Lift Financial, a soon-to-be company of Brooks Macdonald. My day-to-day role, much like Rach, we tend to work in tandem together, is sitting down and understanding clients' objectives and helping them plan for their financial future.
Right, Dan, let's start with you. What exactly is a financial planner and what should people expect on their journey with you or someone like you?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's often one of the hardest ones to answer, actually. But a good financial planner will sit down with anybody and understand what they're looking to achieve. That can be and always is different for each individual, and also as well, depending on where you are on your life journey, there'll be more priorities for myself, thinking about paying for saving for my child, also as well paying down my mortgage because it's probably going to be the largest it's ever hopefully going to be, we'll see. And equally as well, as you get older and start getting into your 40s and 50s, the retirement question, as you've mentioned, starts to hang over you. And once you've then managed to get to retirement and you've got enough money, it's then also as well about making sure you can pass that money down to the next generation. Obviously, we had a budget not so long ago, which has fiddled and messed with the inheritance tax rules as they were. So we've had a big impact for farmers, which has been in the news a lot, and I think it's going to have a big impact on that industry, all of which is to be seen. But also as well, the actual individuals as well. So from April 27, pensions are being brought into the inheritance tax estate, which will have a much bigger impact than the farming stuff, which has had a lot of news coverage. What hasn't has been the pension change. So it's going to have a big impact, and actually it's a really important time to start taking advice and understanding what those changes mean to you as an individual.
So, Rachel, let's bring in your perspective. It's obviously, the time of year, and for lots of people, as you get older, you sort of increasingly get into the stage of life where you start thinking about retirement and how that's going to play out. Talk about your take and your role and how that can help people.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned at the start, it's a conversation that needs to be had. A lot of people can be put off because they don't have all of the answers, and that's absolutely fine. It's our job to work with clients and advisors to help them realize what their goals and objectives are. So some people can be put off if they feel that they don't have the level of wealth to obtain advice, or they don't have the answers. They don't want to look stupid in those meetings. So from our point of view, it's very much a relationship. We want to build that relationship and support clients on the journey, and it will change as we move through the years, and that's absolutely fine. So we build investment solutions and portfolios for clients, and the risk might change. So, in terms of investments, what we do have to remember is that the value of investments can go up and can go down. Nothing is guaranteed, and we have to be mindful of that. And it's all about having a conversation of risk. How much risk does a client need to take in order to meet those objectives? So we're briefly touching on retirement, Matthew. That might be, a client wants X amount to live off in retirement so that they can enjoy themselves. They can go on those holidays and buy a new car every so many years. And what we try to do is encourage people to start saving sooner. The more that they can pay into their pension, into their ISAs, into other investment vehicles, the better chance that they've got at enjoying themselves, and potentially passing money down to the next generation. And that will come through the recent inheritance tax changes. But we can work with clients to make sure that they're spending enough, they're enjoying themselves. But if they want to leave that legacy behind, we're doing so in a way that is tax efficient. And there's nearly always that pension statement as an example that's come through the post at some point during the year. People have opened the envelope and seen, has it gone up or down? Put it in the drawer and forgotten all about it. And what we're trying to get across today is that element and those cash and investment savings that you might have are a key part of your investment journey. And therefore, it's important to take ownership and have a conversation. Do you know the level of risk you're taking? Are you invested in the right underlying investments? And can we and an advisor help you with that? So it might mean that, we've put something in the drawer and forgotten all about it, and it's on that to-do list and we're just never getting around to it. The sooner we start to take ownership and control, the better the outcome will be. You don't have to have all the answers, and we see some of these headlines at the moment in terms of investments of what's doing well, what's not, some significant volatility that we've seen over the last few years. That's absolutely fine, because that's our job to guide you and support you on that journey. And again, with the recent budget changes and change in tax and legislation, it's our job to stay on top of that and make sure that we adjust the plan if we need to. And again, that's very much a conversation.
So let's turn to you, Alex. Obviously, sort of like me, we both come from the world of sport. We did that sort of, you slightly more recently than me, that sort of strange retirement from sport. Talk a little bit about your younger years, your career in sport, and how you thought about financial planning, if at all.
Yeah, so similarly to you, Matthew, I retired at 33 from my first career. Financial planning has been very valuable to me. It's been encouraged by my parents to sort of get a head start and look to the future. Always some sensible advice and a bit of pressure from them. Football is a very short career. Many players leave school with no further education, no skills to really go out into the big wide world and make a living from any other industry. And that can be difficult. A really good plan at the start of your career can be the difference for many people. For myself, I've managed to have a good plan in place early on, which is now I've moved into retirement from football. I have bought myself a bit of time, if you will, so I can pay my bills, I can provide for my family. I've got two young daughters, so they're a bit like Dan. That's my my objectives are looking after them at the moment, and that's a key part of my life. So it can be difficult stepping away from sport and having to start a new career when you have the pressures to provide for other people. But I'm very thankful that, I was encouraged by my parents quite early on, and that stood me in good stead.
And you're sort of paying that forward now with a mentoring role with some of the sort of next generation within the clubs and within the football ranks. Talk a little bit about that. And not all of them, I presume, have got the same approach that you had, and it must be. Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, so we meet many players who it's not something that's on their mind. We start to accumulate wealth quite quickly in the world of professional sport, or it's there for players to earn quite well quite quickly. So it's important we accumulate wealth quickly, and players are quickly moving on to retirement planning. So within the space of 10 years, we're at the start of their career and then planning for retirement. So it's quite a unique industry in that respect. So I would call back on my experience of, I can sort of relate to the pressures that they're under, and retirement planning is not necessarily something that's on the top of their mind. And now I've moved across into another career, or trying to. I can also sort of give them some guidance and sort of understand the expectations that they'll have in retirement and the lifestyle that they want to live. So I think a combination of having been on their side and then now stepped away can be quite valuable for players.
And I think we can all imagine the pitfalls. In your early 20s, you're playing the sport you love at a high level. You're getting really well paid for it. The temptations as a, 22, 24-year-old, just to live life absolutely at sort of full gas must be overwhelming, must be so attractive, but it doesn't come without its risks there in the long term. And I suppose you're fulfilling the role of the slightly older statesman, saying, "Oh, you need to start thinking about pensions." Yeah, I remember it all too well. As a 23-year-old, you think that's the most boring advice ever. That's useless. I can't believe everyone's saying that.
Yeah, I think I would always just tell the players, look, you can live a fantastic lifestyle now, but with moderation, you can live a fantastic lifestyle for a long period of time through good planning. And they're very fortunate to earn good money, but those earnings will fall off a cliff in the early 30s. So it's little reminders. I'm not trying to always be negative. Lots of players can afford to live a nice lifestyle throughout the playing career, and that can continue. But that's all comes down to good planning.
And so, just then, as a sort of parting thought, Alex, what's your tip, your hint to people about thinking about finances? How should they start to tackle it?
I think taking good advice, for me personally, that's been very valuable. I look back at a playing career that seems like a million years ago now, and it was literally a year ago that I stepped away through a couple of dodgy knees. But I think get ahead of the game. It's not something that you need to be focusing on day in, day out, but to spend a little bit of time just to get your affairs set up properly and in order, and it can really pay dividends in the long run.
Rach, what about you as a sort of closing thought to leave people with, perhaps after the budget, thinking ahead? Retirement for some people feels a very long way away, or it feels a bit scary and they don't really want to go back to that envelope.
Yeah, I think I'd say take control of your own investment journey. So don't put it off. There's never a good time. Everybody's so busy. There's a number of challenges in terms of their own finances. But make sure you sit down, start with having a conversation. You don't need to be an investment expert or be a multimillionaire to sit down and obtain advice. Our job in working with financial advisors is to ensure that we support you on that investment journey as it evolves over time. So don't put it off. Put it as part of your New Year's resolution if you need to ensure that it takes some, kind of comes back through to the forefront of your own mind and moves up the to-do list.
Brilliant. Dan, I'm leaving the last word to you.
Pressure. I think I'm just going to echo what Rach said, really. I mean, the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time to start is today. And it doesn't matter where you are in life, there are ways that advice or investment planning or whatever it might be can actually help and improve your life and take away that stress. I mean, money is a stress for everybody, and therefore, if you're paying somebody to help you and coach you and get you on the way, then it's only going to hopefully be a positive thing.
Well, thanks to all three of you. It's beholden on all of us to say, when thinking about your finances, do remember the value of any investments can go up as well as down, and neither is guaranteed. So thanks all three of you. I think it's been a really nice, relaxed session. I've certainly learnt a lot, and hopefully we've given lots of people some takeaways as we look ahead to 2025 and beyond. So thanks to all three of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.